Welcome to Out of Bounds.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Out of Bounds. Casey Kendrick along with Tom Zrato. Do you ever roll your D's when you say that? Or
No, it's hard enough for me to just say it without any of that.
Rato. No, it's not rolling the D, it's rolling the R. I am rolling the R. I was thinking it for some reason, it's
You may be the first person I've been around did that.
I didn't know if you were, I don't know. I know part of your descent. I don't know all of it.
Well, obviously the Italian part.
Yeah. I didn't know if you were maybe some
Native
Mexican.
American on my mother's side.
Okay. Maybe no Mexican.
No.
So I can't roll the R.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay,
I don't think.
I still roll the R. That's what I do.
I think where I was born is close to Mexico,
Is that
Victoria,
right?
Texas.
In Victoria, Texas.
Yes.
What was your dad doing in
He was
Victoria,
in the
Texas?
service,
Oh,
in the armed forces.
Very good. Which army?
Yeah.
So, is he a career army guy?
No. You got to.
He's like you.
I mean, back then, it might seem like a career if you
Yeah.
were there 5 or 6, 7 years, but not by design.
Did he enlist or did he get the invite like you
I
did?
believe he got the invitation to join
got the invite
our
too.
club.
Wow, you guys are just the lucky ones.
We
They
were.
got-
I
yeah.
mean, your
Your
people.
brother, one of your brothers get?
My middle brother did. Chris didn't.
He got the invite too. Your
Oh
other
yes,
brother.
they have the address, so they just send it.
Hey, we hear there's a couple of brothers here. Let's
In
take
fact,
these
let's
two.
send you one. You are cordially invited.
Yeah, let's go to the over there and hang out. Okay, so coming up, that may be more fun talk than some of the talk we've got today. Is obviously the Cowboys
Well,
struggling
not
a little
really,
bit.
but-
But the Cowboy, well, you're right. Kind of puts this in perspective. Cowboys struggling a little bit. We're going to talk about that. We're going to hear from Coach Gundy. But we are going to be on the basketball front today too.
Well, I'm telling you, if you're not feeling up today or tonight, whenever it is you're watching this show, I will guarantee. I sound like Gundy. I will guarantee that you will be in a great humor and a great mood after you listen to our guest, the one and only Barry Hinson, basketball analyst, just recently hired by Oklahoma State's basketball, Mike Boynton. And this guy, well, those of you who are watching, a good many of you remember when he was there in Stillwater a long time ago. He's had a great career in a coaching business as a head coach, Missouri State, Southern Illinois. Now he's in this analyst role. We're going to find out what does an analyst do?
Yeah, because
Analyzes.
we don't mean color commentary.
No.
Analyst. This is like
He analyzes.
He analyzes. What does that mean? We'll find out. That's exactly what Coach Gundy is doing right now, is analyzing his team, trying to determine how they can get better, Tom. And we got some of the cuts from what Coach talked about this week. But obviously, this is a team with a fan base that's frustrated. It's a fan base that is, wants to be back at, they want that 2011 season. But there's other teams that have kind of gotten in our way a little bit. And so, obviously, you go into this cycle of, some people are calling it crisis mode. I don't think it's crisis mode. I think Coach Gundy is still on extremely firm footing. He wants to get better. They have to get better. He knows they have to get better. But ultimately, Tom gets choked up when I start talking about it. This is a team that is not helping itself out. He knows that, which is why he says we'll go to work and fix some of the issues.
Well, I think a lot was made this week, and if you have an opportunity to read Bill Hastings' column this morning as we're talking Tuesday morning, I encourage you to do that because I thought he laid out everything about as factually as he could without going overboard one way or the other, not calling for any changes. But I do think, and while Gundy was trying to appeal to the fan base this past week, and you'll hear some of the cuts, and reassure, if you will, that this it's not over. The program's continuing to go on, but you can't put your head in the sand either. And Oklahoma State football and Mike Gundy are a victim of their own success.
Sure.
And we see this in every line of sports that we cover. The more you win, the more they want you to win. And the more you win, the more they want you to continue to win. And some people have forgotten the 10-win seasons, but at the same time, it's what have you done for me lately? And what Oklahoma State has done lately, these are facts, okay? You can't avoid this. OSU in its last, we're talking about Big 12 games where you have to compete with your peers. Last 11, Oklahoma State's 3-8. Last 15, they're 5-10. Last 17, they're 6-11, and the last 23 games, they're 10-13. No, those are numbers. Those are facts. Okay, and what really maybe brings it to a head is they don't help themselves at home. These numbers are just eye-popping. In the last, last 9 home games in the against Big 12 teams, Oklahoma State's 4-5. They're 5-6 in their last 11, 9-8 home games, last 17 home games. If you lose on the road, maybe sometimes the people don't get as excited. When you lose at home, like you did against Baylor on homecoming, then it kind of rears its head. I agree with Gundy. I mean, the program's not crumbling, but it is at a point now where you got to start winning games. And we know this society, we're going to blame somebody. We blame Gundy, blame the offensive coordinator, blame this quarterback. Okay, you can blame all you want, but until some of these things get fixed, like 8 turnovers from your quarterback in the last 2 games, it's going to continue to be the same. You've got to get that thing fixed. And let's get to the Sanders thing. I don't know if you're going to bring it up, but I will. Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy, football, has they've hitched their wagon to Spencer Sanders. That was obvious when they started him, okay? And he had a good game against Oregon State, and that was impressive. But there are a couple of factors. Number one, Oregon State didn't even know anything about this guy, number one. And when they finally found out about how good he is, it was too late. Plus, they didn't have the people to do anything about it. They're one of the worst defenses we're going to play all year. But as you go along, McNeese, Tulsa, and then Big 12, they all had video of what he can and can't do. They're going to try to take away what you do. So he's had to adapt to what is going to be an entire career of people trying to take away what you do. He's been erratic, to say the least. But those people calling for a change, stop and think about what you're asking here. This is the guy that you're hoping to hitch your wagon to for the next couple of years. You just have to battle through it. You made the decision to do that, so you stick with him. I'm not saying Drew Brown won't come in. I would imagine if he has a rough start at Iowa State, I wouldn't be surprised to see Drew Brown come in. But they've already established, you're a guy. Drew Brown's not around after this year. We got to stick with you, and we're going to make it this way. So calling for changes, I mean, to me, that's just an immediate fix, but it's not a long-term fix.
No, there's no way. Again, you want to say fact, that's a fact. I mean, because Drew Brown's only going to be here for 5 more games till the bowl game.
Correct.
That's not a long-term fix, no matter how you look at it. So I do think that he ought to get some opportunities, and I'm okay with that. But I think you got to be very careful how you handle Spencer Sanders, because exactly what you said. Now, unless you get some guy next year that's going to trump him, and bar none, there's no way he's coming back. You need to groom this guy. You need to have him be the guy for you. So there's no doubt about that. But I will say this, Tom. This is the one statement that I think that is just drives me crazy when I hear it. And I hear it from more people in the media than I hear it from fans, is that Coach Gundy's just hiring a bunch of yardbird assistant coaches. That is the most asinine. Tom, you and I talked about it. There are maybe a guy or two on this staff that you could upgrade. That's true of every program. That's true of every staff. You think Alabama couldn't find maybe one more better guy than what they've got at whatever position, you name it. But when you look at the history of the program, of the coaches that have gone on other places, you look at a Casey Dunn, you look at guys on this staff, you look at Charlie Dickey, he's proven. Maybe the offensive line is not what it needs to be, but this is his first year. That's a proven coach. That is a hellacious hire. To say that so flippantly, to me, is careless and stupid on behalf of, give me an example, show me what you're talking about, but they make it sound like Coach Gundy's never hired anybody that went on to do anything else, and that's ridiculous.
Well, fortunately for me, I've never heard that, in the media and or on the street. Now, people have their own opinions of what's going on, and we've talked about this before. Back in the day, fans didn't even know the names of coordinators. I mean, if you gave them a test and their salary depended on it, they would lose their salary. Now, coordinators are focal points for a lot of the criticism. And if you give up too many yards, the defensive guy catches grief. If you can't score, it's the offensive guy. But that goes with the territory. But I'm right there with you. It is not the coach's fault. It is not Gundy's fault. But fans are so around here are so spoiled now to the fact that you just think 10 wins is automatic. We just roll the ball out. Now, 3 wins usually are automatic because you play 3 non-conference teams that you're infinitely better than, and you're to win. And you pick up 2 or 3 easy wins in the league, and now you're going to a bowl, okay? And they're going to go to a bowl this year. No panic. They're going to go to a bowl for the 15th straight year, I think. But you're a victim of your own success. And we've seen it in other sports. But it's not automatic. And we're finding out the last year and a half now that it's not automatic.
Sure.
And it may take a while to get back to that point again. But I don't blame the media. I heard the comments yesterday or Monday, as you're seeing this show. I don't think it was an unfair question. Where do you think the program is in light of the last 17 games? And I thought Gundy was upbeat, and he has to be. If he expects his players on Sunday night, don't come in pouting, don't come in hangdogging, don't come in feeling sorry for yourself. Whatever happened, we're going to get after it again. What else do you want him to do? You want him to stand up there? Now, there's some fans who want him to go up there and just riddle everybody and throw this guy under the bus and that, and we're going to make that's not the way the program's run. So he's upbeat, trying to keep everybody else upbeat. But I think the question initially was a fair one.
And so let's jump into it. Here's Coach Gundy talking about kind of the state of the union and kind of a message to the fan base.
So, you've known me long enough. My glass is always full, and I'm not concerned for 1 second about the team. Do I wish we'd played better in the fourth quarter? Yes. Do I wish we wouldn't have turned the ball over as much at Tech? Yes. But if I even worry about what I thought about walking to this press conference, my profession would be extremely difficult. The programs is on as good a ground as it's ever been on here. We just got to correct a few mistakes. That's just life. It's kind of the way it is. And what people have to understand is this. I think most everybody knows me now. It's not like I don't get frustrated either. Okay? I've told you this. I go home, I take double Ambien. Didn't work. I woke up at 3:17. I came to work at 3:45 Sunday morning. That's just the way it is. Okay? So it's not like I don't notice, and it's not like I don't understand people's frustration. But we also live in a society today where people want to bitch and complain about everything instead of putting their pants on and go fix it. We're going to fix it. Nobody around here going to bitch and complain. From me to a coach to a player to anybody that works in that building over there. So that's the way it works. That's the way that we'll get better. But I certainly understand how and why people think that way. But I would ask them to do this. I would ask them to reflect on a teenager and the mistakes that teenagers make. And then as a parent, you sit there and think, how could that happen? I've been doing the best I can to parent him. And I can't believe he went around the back of the school and smoked a cigarette. Why'd he do that? Well, either you're a bad parent or it's a bad kid. That's not necessarily true. That's just kind of life. People say, well, how do you make that comparison? Because I got 3 kids at home. Now, I don't know if they smoke or not, but I know this. I know that I parent them to not do things, and they still do it. So I correct it and move forward. So far, they've turned out okay. Anything can happen. But periodically, it's the same thing happens in football. So it's a fair question, but the fan base needs to know this. If you want to help OSU football, come to the games. You want to help OSU recruiting, come to the games and be supportive. And trust that I will do my job, the coaches will do their job, and the players will do their job. And if not, I'll fix it. That would be the very best thing everybody can do. Now, if you want to complain and all that, I'm good. But you still need to come Saturday and show up. That helps recruiting. That helps Oklahoma State football, and we'll get it solved. We've been in this situation before. It's actually not as bad as the situation we were in however long ago it was, whatever year that was. I don't know. I can't remember hardly a week ago. But I can remember something that has to do with football. I just don't know what year it was. But the youth on this team right now and the development, the classes that we have redshirted, the players we have, the overall attitude, there's nothing to worry about.
Well, Coach, how about Tom?
Thank you.
You know, we call you Coach
I used
Tom.
to be at one time.
So if you look at you look at the response again, I think it is appropriate. Now, again, the question's fine, but the response is fine. Look, if you look at the last year, no, we're not great. And last year we weren't great either. But if you look at the program as a whole, it's
Sure.
not like this is 7-10 years of just complete mediocrity and running in the ground. This team is not at that point. This team is at a whole nother level. And again, you're going to be cyclical. There's only one team in this league, one. And even they, for a spell, did that. Texas has been cyclical, and everybody else. Oklahoma is the only team that's been able to stay above that fray.
But again, sustainability is what people look for. And we've got a different age group that make up our fan base, in my opinion. Some of these younger generation guys have only experienced 10 wins a year, all right? Those of us who go back a number of years, we couldn't put 2 years together to what we had 10 wins. So we remember those days, all right?
Sure.
So, but you can't forget what a guy does. But it's what have you done for me today? I mean, we know that. That's true. That's the way it is. And right now, some people are not happy with what Gundy and the fellas are doing today. And they completely forget what happened as recently as 3 years ago. But that's just the nature of the beast. And if you're in this business, whether it's coaching, and, you know, we'll ask Hinson about this when he joins us, you know, as a coach, you understand that. If you don't, then you're probably in the wrong business.
That is true, but you also have to be able to put, as you said, don't put your head in the sand, but you got to be able to be realistic. You cannot just overhaul the whole thing. That's not how you get out of these jams. You get out of these jams by staying the course, and as long as your course was a good course. Now,
Sure.
You can have some bad courses, but Coach Gundy has a proven course of greatness. So with that, continue the course and get this thing turned around. And that includes your quarterback. And Coach Gundy talked about the one thing with this young man is he's got to have better ball security, he's got to value the football, and they've got the drills and all of that in place to make that happen.
I said this last week and I'll say it again. To play quarterback at any level, particularly high school, college, and beyond, you have to have good ball security in the pocket, period. Okay? Now, you see some quarterbacks get away with it. Watch the guys that are veterans that have hung around and played forever and been successful. Okay? We used to, you know this, you've been around here for 100 years. We used to make fun of Mason doing this all the time at practice. Well, he did it for the Steelers the other day, and he's still doing it. Watch Brady, watch Breeze, watch Rodgers, watch Russell Wilson. Those guys have good ball security in the pocket. There's a lot going on for a quarterback, and as soon as you start to do this, you're asking for it. You might get away with it, but you're asking for it. So we worked hard on it for 2 weeks. He was better. If you have the tape, you can go back and watch it. Throughout the game, he was much, much better. He put one on the ground in the fourth, and they picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown. Made it look worse. Glaring mistake. If they just recover it and get on the ball and we hold them to a field goal, it's different. Should have, would have, could have, whatever. That's his responsibility. Forget the offensive line. He knows that. He understands that. He will accept responsibility for that. We'll continue to work in getting better. Okay? And you guys can watch for that. You'll see that sometimes. Some quarterbacks will take off and get away at times. Well, I see it. I don't care if I'm watching Pee Wee football or the pros. I see it right away because I know the danger of it. That's his responsibility. He knows that. He has to continue to get better.
How do you train that?
Drill work. You have drill work where they're out there every day for 10 minutes and they're moving around the pocket, and you get guys, young coaches in our program, and they get a dummy and they're slapping him with the dummy. And he's got to control the ball, and they're hitting him from behind, hitting him in the front, and he's got to squeeze that ball, and then quarterback coach moves him around and then tells him to tuck and run, take the ball from here to here, and you run, period. If you do anything else, it becomes short-lived. That's just the way it is.
Well, there you go. Coach Gundy, obviously getting ready for Baylor, got a big week, and it's going to be, hopefully, getting ready for Iowa State, rather. It's a big week for them. Big game for both of these two teams. A lot on the line for some teams that are hovering in that second and third spot trying to get in the Big 12 championship. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to change gears completely.
We're going to talk hoops, and as we speak on a Tuesday, tomorrow kind of officially kicks off the men's basketball season. Today, The women are doing the same thing up in Kansas City. Media days, everybody talking to the coaches, finding out what they're going to do, making predictions, who's going to finish where. But we're going to talk Oklahoma State basketball. We're going to talk to a guy who has a title that I've never seen in basketball in my 30-some-odd years here, an analyst, Barry Henson.
We'll analyze the.
He's going to tell us, what does that mean?
We'll find out what we're going to analyze the
analyst
position. That's exactly right. He's coming up next. Coming up a little bit later in the show, we'll talk some soccer, talk some baseball. We'll get to all that and more as we continue right after this.
Kent and Barbara Houck have been saying they're a one-stop shop for many years. In 1951, the Houck Agency began insuring Oklahomans and since has expanded to insure people in 11 states across the country. The Houck Agency can find the policy that fits your needs from business health coverage, individual health, home, auto, and long-term health care policies. They have a staff that can take care of financial planning, including retirement and investing. And Barbara Houck has been a realtor for over 35 years, and her contacts helped her buy and sell homes and commercial properties across the state. One-stop shop, the Houck Agency, 801 South Main in Stillwater. Call statewide toll-free at 800-543-8588. The Houck Agency, when experience counts. The McCafe is now featuring cold brew coffee and cold brew frappes. Face the day with a cold brew coffee from the McCafe with a rich cold brew coffee blended with ice for a creamy frozen drink that's colder than cold brew. Or refresh with a cold, creamy frappe. We start with a cold brew coffee, blended ice, and topped with whipped cream and rich chocolate drizzle for a great anytime frozen treat. McDonald's in Stillwater, Perkins, Perry, and Cushing. I'm loving it.
From pumpkins and parades to parties and performances, October is full of orange and America's friendliest college town.
What better way to see the beautiful Oklahoma State University campus in the city of Stillwater than by running 13.1 miles on Sunday, October 6th in the Stilly Half.
500 competitors come together at the Cowboy Stampede. Watch them rope, ride, and wrestle.
As the world turns orange.
We are so excited about the Harvest Carnival, Walk Around, and the Sea of Orange Parade.
Something you and I have done for a number of years on the radio.
With Broadway shows and internationally acclaimed symphonies, the McKnight Center for the Performing Arts at Oklahoma State University is a world-class facility opening this October.
Trick or treat with the downtown merchants, enjoy the carnival games, inflatables, and the costume contest at the annual Halloween Festival. Don't miss a beat in America's friendliest college town. Check out our full listing of events at visitstillwater.org.
Formal Fantasy in the heart of downtown Stillwater provides everything you need for your formal occasion. We have dresses, shoes, and jewelry to make you stand out on your special day. We offer tuxedo and suit rentals right here in Stillwater. Our staff of expert seamstresses will alter your clothing to fit perfectly, saving you from going from store to store to get everything you need for your event. From school dances to weddings, Formal Fantasy at 121 East 9th in downtown Stillwater is your formal store.
If you haven't been to TS Fork at White Barn Estates lately, we have an exciting new concept to tell you about. It's called Thirsty Thursdays, and it includes 4 courses of the same high-quality food as our other nights and some of the best mixed drinks you've ever had. Best of all, no reservations are required. And while you're there, relax with a drink on our covered patio and check out the gift shop with Made in Oklahoma products. Go to tsfork.com for more details and to check out our upcoming special menus.
Frontier Lanes is Stillwater's favorite family entertainment destination. Open 7 days a week, Ernie and the crew offer 16 lanes of bowling, but that's just where the fun begins. Knock down the pins to the sounds of your favorite tunes with our jukebox. The game room features pinball, pool, and exciting arcade games. And with a full snack bar, you can satisfy your thirst and get some of the best burgers and fries in town. Frontier Lanes near Airport Road at 3524 North Washington. Call 372-8584 and be sure to ask them about booking your child's next birthday party.
It's back. Stillwater High School football returns to TV 31. Be sure to catch every home game as the Pioneers look to return to the championship game. Stillwater High School football is brought to you by our friends at Tiger Drug. Also by Freddie Paul's Steakhouse. By Bank First. Also by Formal Fantasy. The Houck Agency for all of your insurance and real estate needs. By McDonald's. By Martin, Jean, and Jackson.
Also brought to you by Harrison Electric, Legacy Oil and Gas,
By Wendell Stevens Shelter Insurance.
by Gigabytes, and by Charlie's Discount Drug. Catch Stillwater High School football on TV 31 Fridays, also streaming on TV31.net. Replays convene Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Facebook as well. Catch it right here on TV 31.
Well, welcome back to the show, and joining us now, I could say an old friend because I'm older than he is, but the fact is that I've known this guy since he was teaching my daughter in high school in Stillwater. Barry Hinson, no introduction needed. I think anybody who's watching this knows the name, if nothing else, but glad he's here. Latest edition of Mike Boynton's basketball staff. Tell me, what is an analyst? Don't tell me they analyze, but what does an analyst do?
We talked about this the other day while we were watching practice. I have no clue, much less can I spell the word. But John Underwood for the Big 12 said it in all caps, spelled analyst for me, so because I'd said it so many times. But, you know, I think it goes back. One of the things that Mike and I talked about when we had a chance to visit prior to this announcement was my philosophy's always been, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you better find a different room. And one of the things that I've always thought, you know, going back, and it goes back, Tom, to my days of working with Mr. Iba. You know, I remember when Coach Krzyzewski, Coach Knight, Coach Smith would always bring Mr. Iba out to evaluate practices, quote unquote, the old bull, the old guy. And I'm to that point in my time, in my career. Let's get one thing straight. I don't want to be a head coach. I've done it, been there, done that, but I'm ready. I still want to coach. I still want to be around the kids, and I still want to help because it's what I love. It's what I've endured to do my entire life. And this is a new role for me, which I have 100% accepted. And really, my dad's no Southern Baptist minister. We dunked them. You know, we're full in the water now. So as Coach or my dad used to say, get both feet in the circle. And I've got both feet in the circle, and I really like this role. It allows me to still help, but in a manner that I don't have to be the head coach anymore.
It's a role, too, that just watching outside in, I mean, Boynton's got to get used to it as well. Now, hiring somebody as an analyst and never having an analyst before are usually two different things. So kind of take us behind the curtain. When do you have contact with Mike Boynton? Every day, all day, what?
Well, it depends. It could be all day, it could be every day, it could be a bump, it could be a car ride. I've told him when you go recruiting on the road, I'll drive you. It gives me an opportunity to have some one-on-one time with him. I give him my analytics review every morning when he comes into the office. I put it in his chair. If he has questions or whatever, he can bring me back in there. We'll talk about it. We've met on several occasions. I just like to, the other thing I like to do is I like to be around the other assistants and see what they're thinking, and just, you know, it's literally, it is the old bull role. And I like that. I really do. I've learned a lot already just being here. I've been here 2 weeks, and, you know, learned some things from not only Coach Boynton, but from all the staff. But it's really it's been really kind of neat for me. I know it's a honeymoon period, but at the same time, I told Coach Boynton, you know, if you're going to bring me on board, I will not keep my mouth shut. I will tell you, if you give me a question, I'll give you an honest answer. And you know, I know when to be seen, and I know when to not be, and I know when to be heard and when not to be heard. And that's that's 30. I started my 39th year in this business.
Wow.
I'm an old guy.
But you started when you were 15, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what people used to say about, you know, I got married young, and I've got, my daughters are 38, 36. They want to know if I got married after prom night.
You were married at 18, though, probably. That's true, yeah. You know, it is an interesting dynamic, and I don't know enough about programs around the country, but football has analysts everywhere, okay, and it's a common thing there. Is it very common around the country to have analysts in basketball?
Well, you know, I think it's common to have an old guy on staff. I mean, that's the trend.
Okay.
That truly is the trend,
Okay.
whatever you want to call them. We had a guy last year on our staff, quality control.
Yeah, okay.
You know, you're in Southern Illinois, you got to call it something different
Sure,
than an analyst.
sure.
But we had quality control, and we hired Doug Novsek, that had been for years a coach at Evansville, and I competed against and played at Southern Illinois. And I told our staff at the time, if I get an opportunity to hire a guy that has experience and understands the game that I can just bounce stuff on all the time, we're going to do that. And we raised the money. We had a booster that stepped up, helped us. I actually paid for his apartment, paid for his meals every day, actually gave him one of my cars, said, here, drive it.
Wow.
And he stayed with us literally from October to April and was an unbelievable blessing to us. So it's kind of the trend. Tulsa's done it. Jerry Wainwright, you know, the old guy's back over there helping Coach Haith.
I didn't realize that. No.
So you've got old guys all across the country going in and doing this, and it's kind of a new role.
How does it make you feel, or, you know, we're 2 weeks into this, so maybe you don't feel this way today like you did when you first got there. And I think I read correct. I mean, did you, Boynton was a player when you coached against him?
Yeah.
You certainly had Scott on your staff at Oral Roberts. You went head to head with Cooper, I guess, and when you were coaching. When you see these guys, I mean, does it register that here I am over here and here's these guys, or is that over now, all that?
No, let's get one thing straight real quick, and it's almost like the NFL. And I can't speak for Division I football, but for Division I basketball, it's almost like being in the NFL. You're part of a fraternity. And all of that's thrown out.
Okay.
I mean, you know, we're all family. I mean, you got to look at that. You don't want anybody to ever get fired. You don't want anybody to ever go through tragedy. You don't want anybody to ever go through loss. You hope everybody wins every ball game except the one you play against each other. Right. And so for me to come back home here, which has been great, is that I knew John Cooper. I knew John Cooper. I knew who he played for. Eddie Fogler is a dear friend of mine, and of course, obviously a mentor to Coach Boynton. It was an opportunity. Scott Sutton. I recruited Keaton Page. So, you know, it was almost like this was a true homecoming, no pun intended. But and then, of course, I taught Coach Holder's daughter and in junior high with your daughter. And it was neat the other night. We had the homecoming hoops. I got all these former students running up to me, you know, and they're all 50. They act like I was this old guy when I was here teaching. I was just 8, 9, or 10 years older than they were at the time.
You know, it is amazing when you look at a coach's resume. Did you not just start your coaching career as a JV coach here? Was that your first job?
I was 7th grade AAU, and on my first team, the two guys that you'll remember very common in this area, Vaughn Bennett and Brent Price.
Yes. Yeah,
you know,
well, two guys,
I mean, Kelly Revis.
Yeah.
Well, those were the guys that are on that team. And then I started with the Stillwater Junior High.
Unfortunately, Revis is my son-in-law.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, maybe there's a reason we mentioned those names. But Steve Carpenter, Kevin Blake, Barry Smith, Jerry Gamble, Vaughn Bennett. I mean, all these guys played for me, and it was just a great time. You know, Tom, everybody asked me about the journey. I wouldn't change one thing. I mean, I started at Stillwater Junior High. I was a Raider. I guess we're all pioneers now. Some things change over time. But, man, I wouldn't change anything. And I had an opportunity to coach AAU. I had an opportunity to coach junior high, JV, sophomore. I was the sophomore boys coach here at Stillwater. And then I coached the Stillwater Summer League team because my head coach was Jerry Havens. At Marlowe. So that was my time. You know, I've only worked for one head coach, now 2 head coaches at the Division I, but I had the opportunity to work for 2 really good head coaches, thought of Hall of Fame coaches, Jerry Havens and Mike De La Garza. And to this day, there are things that I do or say that I learned from both of those a lot from Coach Havens.
You bring up De La Garza. I went against him when I came back here, was coaching here. And my first couple of years, he's a fiery dude. Now, we had some less than stellar exchanges, but nonetheless, we're both after the same thing, a win. We got to take a break here in a minute, but before we get there, I want to kind of move into the overall. You talk about the family thing. You heard Casey and I talk about this is a great resource set up for Boynton, but the players have a great amount of knowledge in that room, in that staff room, in the office room that they could take advantage of. Do you see that happening?
Oh, there's no question. You know, and if it's not going to happen, Tom, I'm going to make it happen.
Okay.
I mean, that's the other side of that. I'm one of those guys that, you know, we're going to learn and get to know each other, but once that takes place, I've always said this, if a player knows that you care for them, truly care for them, they'll respect you and they'll listen to you. If they think that you're using them for any other reason, then you've lost their respect and you've lost their ability to hear what you're trying to teach. So the most important thing is for these young men, and Coach Boynton basically said that the day he introduced me to the team, he just talked about that. And from that moment on, I mean, Coach just set it up on a tee, Tom, and made it a lot easier. But those guys come in the film room every day. I'm not allowed to analyze or break down film with those guys. That would be an NCAA violation of amongst the all crazy ones that we have. But there's nothing wrong with those guys coming over on the sideline and ask me what I think or this, and I'll share my opinion. And I've already shared my opinion on a couple of things with them that don't have anything to do with basketball.
I've heard some of those opinions myself. And speaking of opinions, this is a good time to take a break because when we come back, you mentioned team. I want to get his observations on what he sees with the individuals on the floor. We'll do that after this.
Harrison Electric in downtown Stillwater can handle any commercial or residential job with expertise. But don't take my word for it. These are actual Google customer reviews for Harrison Electric. When they make an appointment, they show up on time. Very professional employees who respect the client. They clean up after themselves and did an awesome job. Talked us through the plans with us and came up with the most economical plan for us. Very easy to work with on changes that came up. Highly recommend. So there you have it. The public has spoken. Call Harrison Electric at 372-7171 and see what everyone is talking about.
The McCafe is now featuring cold brew coffee and cold brew frappes. Face the day with a cold brew coffee from the McCafe with a rich cold brew coffee blended with ice for a creamy frozen drink that's colder than cold brew. Or refresh with a cold creamy frappe. We start with a cold brew coffee, blended ice, and topped with whipped cream and rich chocolate drizzle for a great anytime frozen treat. McDonald's in Stillwater, Perkins, Perry, and Cushing. I'm loving it.
To our neighbors and friends, we come to you today to let you know what's on our hearts. Because you're the reason what we do is so much more meaningful than a job. The reason we believe in the power of investing in tomorrow and the power of community. So this is simply thank you. As we step boldly into a time of growth and change, consider this our promise that every investment in our hospital is an investment in our communities.
The Hideaway since 1957. The Hideaway is famous for a lot of things, including their off-the-charts fried mushrooms, incredible service, unbeatable lunch specials, and of course the one-of-a-kind pizza. Stillwater's pizza tradition begins and ends here, from the big country to the pizza of the gods. And even the sizes are famous, from the mini personal to the big kahuna. Like us on Facebook for unique offers, lunch or dinner, dine-in, pickup, or delivery. The Hideaway, 230 South Mount Block, or call 372-4777. More than a restaurant, it's a tradition.
Charlie's Discount Drug, where we know our customers by name. Oh, yeah. Charlie's Discount Drug.
Hard work, dedication, tradition, and proven results. That's Pioneer Football, and that's the law firm of Martin, Jean, and Jackson. That commitment to excellence has served the Pioneers for years, and it's done the same for Martin, Jean, and Jackson with over 100 years of combined experience in injury law. Martin, Jean, and Jackson has offices in Stillwater, Ponca City, Tulsa, and our new location in Oklahoma City. Our Stillwater office is conveniently located at 400 South Duck Street. Stop by our location or call us at 405-377-5000. Teams always strive to be their very best. That's the Pioneers, and that's Martin, Jean, and Jackson, attorneys at law.
Welcome back. We are back with Barry Hinson. And again, I feel like I don't need to introduce, but I'm sure there's some people out there who remember the name. This guy, he's a Stillwater, Oklahoma State guy through and through. What have you seen as far as individuals are concerned? You've been around, seen these guys in practice, been around them in the office. What do you see from this team individually?
Well, one of the things that I see right off the bat is these guys were forced to play extended minutes last
No
year.
question.
And they were forced to figure out what each other does and what they do best. I really like the starting five that everybody talks about,
Right.
the five coming back. I like what I see on the floor. In this day and age, Tom, if you can't pass, dribble, and shoot, you can't be competitive.
Right.
And I think all five of those guys right now that we're putting on the floor can pass, dribble, and shoot on the perimeter, maybe with the exception of Yor, but we're not asking Yor to do
Right,
that.
right.
We recruited Yor
Did
at
you
Southern
really?
Illinois, so I know Yor extremely well, and I know what he can do. But what this young man did last year in blocking shots, Tom,
Yeah.
is incredible. I mean, his stats and his timing, his ability to read shots, I don't think people understand how hard it is to block shots because it's not guarding. You're not blocking shots on the guy you're guarding. The block comes place on a rotation or timing issues like that. I think we can figure out right now that our top five, who they are, and then in this conference, which I've been a member of this conference when I was at the University of Kansas, you've got to figure out real quick who is 6 through 10.
Right.
And right now,
not just bodies, but trustable 6 through 10.
6 through 10. And I think right now, and I won't comment on this, but I'm pretty confident, and I think our staff's confident, that we know who the top 7 are.
Right.
But at the same time, 8, 9, and 10 are going to come into play. You're going to have, God forbid, you're going to have suspension, but you're going to have sickness, you're going to have injury. You're going to have foul trouble. And so that's where 7, 8, 9, 10 all come into play. And everybody deals with it. I mean, knock on wood, you want to go through it and you want to say that we're not going to have these things come up, but they're all going to come up for every team.
I don't want to put you in a situation where you're commenting on individuals, so I'll make this statement. Yes, I understand where you're coming from, but in this day and age of recruiting and assuring, promising, hinting, when you recruit Johnny, that, you know, you come here now, man, you're going to play. Now you get into a situation, maybe you're in the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 range. Today's patience level doesn't seem to be very high, my opinion again, with kids. Then you talk about, do I waste a year on Johnny over here and he averages 3 minutes? Do you guys have these conversations in general? I guess the word redshirt comes up.
Well, I'll just speak from my experience. And it's different at this level because if you redshirt at the mid-major level, the young men are going to graduate early and somebody's going to go pick them.
No, I got you. Yeah, right.
But
That's
at
a
this
good point.
level,
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity because there's nobody really picking players. You don't pick players from Power Fives. Power Five guys transfer. They don't leave, if that makes sense.
No, that does,
I mean,
yeah.
it's kind of an oxymoron the way I said that.
Portal.
But, yeah, but what they're going to do is that you get to this point that if you can redshirt young men, I've said this all along, you're better at 23 than you are at 18. And here's a stat for you. 100% of the kids that redshirt don't want to redshirt.
Well, I agree with that.
100% of the kids that redshirt, at the end of their career, 100% are happy that they redshirted.
Sure.
So it's now this, you talking about a time where an old bull or an old coach comes into play, that's when it is. A guy that's had experience, that goes through it and tells a young man, I tell them all the time, if I could get in the hot tub time machine, I'd go back to Oklahoma State right now when I was in college. No, I mean, seriously, I'd go back right now, watch Paul Hansen practice and see those guys and go over there and listen to Byron Bird and Chet and Sam and Mr. Iba tell all those stories. I'd go back there right now. And but it's, you know, it's each coach's different philosophy, but it'll be interesting to see what we do because, Tom, as much as we want to play young men, we're only going to play 10 guys. And of that 10, you're going to look at the stats in here, we're going to play 8 guys.
Really?
That's what it comes
you
down
shrink
to.
it as you go.
That's what
Yeah.
it comes down to.
Yeah.
And when you get into conference play, it's really 8, 9 guys.
Yeah, you're right. And again, I don't think, I'm guessing, I mean, you can kind of steer me here, but I'm guessing this conversation's been had somewhere in the office, not with the players, because everybody's got an opportunity to play. And you want your roster to be a vibrant one and not start some kid off going, oh man, they got a redshirt, so I'm not going to do anything. So that's not where we're going. But I am realistic enough to know that do you have to look at your roster? Do I want to look at the end of the year and Johnny, who I had great hopes for, and he averaged 4 minutes a game and didn't play much? Now, that's the situation you get in, suspensions, injury, sickness, notwithstanding.
Well, yeah, and I'll answer this question. There has been no conversation, as per se, with our staff about redshirting. And the reason being is because the rules have changed. These guys can play through a scrimmage, through an exhibition game. They could play a certain amount of games that they're not going to be counted for if they had a medical issue or whatsoever.
Well, okay, but we've seen that happen over the course of time where after 3 or 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden he has an ankle injury that keeps him out there. Well, okay, I've seen that ankle injury come up. But once you play in a game, your red shirt is over, or is it percent, barring an injury or a health?
No, you're done. You could go through the first 2 exhibition games, or exhibition or a scrimmage, and unless the rules changed since last year. And I will say this though, in the old days you could have an injury.
Yeah.
It's harder to do that now because there's nobody on the medical side that's going to sign off on that.
I got you.
It's really hard. It's very difficult, and in order to pull that off. The old days, we'd have a bone spur.
Yeah.
But we didn't see that on the X-ray. Well, it's there.
Yeah. 2 guys that really intrigue me, and I'm going to ask you point blank about them. I can't believe in the big picture that Laurent wouldn't play a lot of minutes this year. I mean, this is a ready-made addition. Guy's played a lot of basketball on this level, and he's good at what he does. And then the other guy on the other end of the spectrum is Rusick. He is intriguing to me as to what he can do as a big man. Comment on both.
Well, I think that, first of all, let's take JL. And the thing that he does is that if he ever figures out that he can get fouled, he's one of our better free throw shooters. Now, we don't ever talk about that. You don't talk about that, most guys, because you know why? They don't put free throws on SportsCenter.
That's right.
But, I told him the
Unless
other day.
you miss them.
I told him the other day, I just said, you've got an opportunity with your athleticism, the way you go to the glass, the way you do these things, you have an opportunity to get fouled. You could shoot anywhere from 6 to 8 free throws a game. That's not even counting what you're talking about when you've got the ball offensively off an offensive rebound or this or that. I think, to me, the biggest surprise for me coming in is Hitty. I've been blown away.
He is so intriguing to me.
He is not only intriguing, he's an enigma because from what I've seen, he is, you don't use this term very often, but he can be a physical European player. And you don't ever use that term. Those two don't go hand in hand. But what he is this young man's been well coached.
Apparently.
He's been well prepared. He knows how to play. And if anything Mr. Iba taught me is great players play slow, bad players play fast.
I've never heard that, but that's true.
And Hitty doesn't get sped up. He just plays. He's kind of like an alto in the chorus. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He just right here. And you know what? Great players are like that. I think if you're an Oklahoma State fan right now, and you could get excited about both of these young men, because I do think they're going to contribute for us.
Before we let you go, I'm a great believer. I don't know where you stand on this, but I don't care what the sport is when we're previewing the next year. My feeling is you're only going to be as good as the core that you bring back. And I know everybody gets excited about new people, and they're this and they're that, but the core, and I want to go back to a conversation, a statement you made. I felt like this team that had to play together down the stretch because of all the problems last year. The last 6 or 7 games, this group, you didn't want to play them because they understood how tough it was to be, but they got to be playing better as a group. I would be disappointed if this core isn't even better this year.
Well, they're going to be. I mean, I can already tell you they're going to be. I learned a long time ago, we brought up Mike De La Garza. Mike De La Garza used to say this all the time, you're only as good as your seniors. And I'm a firm believer of that. I've used that every year, no matter where I've been.
That makes sense.
It does make sense. And what you're going to find out is what I go back. You paid the price last year, and Coach Boynton had to make some really tough decisions as a head coach. He made the right decision. He took the road less traveled. And so we're going to be the benefactors of that this year, Tom. And I'm excited. Great time to be a part of OSU basketball. I'm glad I'm coming in. Glad the old Bull's coming in for a while.
Well, you know what? For an old Bull, you sounded pretty good on TV. It's not like you've done this old Bull thing on TV at least once or twice. We appreciate Barry coming in. We'll have Barry on from time to time and kind of get a look at things outside the program because he's going to be outside the program as well. And so glad to have him back. You talk about Mr. OSU, this guy is. So is Casey. I don't know where Casey is, but he's coming back after this.
Do you take multiple routine prescriptions for medical conditions such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, COPD, asthma, or arthritis? Are you tired of making multiple trips to the pharmacy each month to pick up refills of all your medications? Tiger Drug has a new, easy, convenient, and free synchronized refill program for you. We will work with your insurance so that your meds will all be available on your refill date so that there will be no waiting. Call one of our friendly staff members and ask how you can join the Synchronized Refill Program at 405-372-7900 or stop by at 825 South Walnut. And be sure to ask about our vaccination program. Tiger Drug in Stillwater, where the customer comes first.
Freddie Paul's Steakhouse and Brian invite you to experience this Stillwater staple. Established in 2001 and armed with the best steaks in town, daily lunch buffet, and catering available, there is something for even your pickiest of family members. Homemade with love, they combine family recipes, a professional chef, and a dedicated staff to bring you a fantastic dining experience. Looking for something new to do with the family? Come check out Sky Golf Driving Range and take a few swings while enjoying full food and drink service. Freddie Paul's Steakhouse, where they believe you should always enjoy the exceptional flavor of what you're eating.
To our neighbors and friends, as we step boldly into a time of growth, our promise is that every investment in our hospital is an investment in our communities. Thank you for being the reason we love what we do.
Where do you go for computer help? Gigabytes. Gigabyte staff are experts in virus removal, software updates, and faster running computers. Gigabytes also provides small business support and network support, including websites. And they do laptop screen replacements, and they do all kinds of cosmetic repairs as well. Whatever your computer needs, they are the ones that can provide you with the answers and solutions to get you up and running. Gigabytes, 918 South Main, open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, or call 533-1715.
Life beyond the gravitational pull of the city requires a can-do attitude. It takes versatility to accomplish all that needs to be done, and enough power to never get in over your head. The Kubota L-Series tractor pulls up its bootstraps, hooks up to its many attachments, and gets the job done right. That's why it's the #1 selling compact tractor in America.
Kent and Barbara Houck have been saying they're a one-stop shop for many years. In 1951, the Houck Agency began insuring Oklahomans and since has expanded to insure people in 11 states across the country. The Houck Agency can find the policy that fits your needs, from business health coverage, individual health, home, auto, and long-term health care policies. They have a staff that can take care of financial planning, including retirement and investing. And Barbara Houck has been a realtor for over 35 years, and her contacts helped her buy and sell homes and commercial properties across the state. One-stop shop, the Houck Agency, 801 South Main in Stillwater. Call statewide toll-free at 800-543-8588. The Houck Agency, when experience counts.
Welcome back. Good stuff with Coach Henson. You know, obviously, when you think about this, again, I go back to what we've talked about before, and I had Coach Boynton on Tuesday this week as well. If you're watching on Tuesday, this afternoon. But Coach is obviously a man very secure in his hiring, talking about hiring coaches. He's got a lot of former head coaches, a lot of experience around him, and for some, that is that can be intimidating. For him, he finds the benefit in that, and that's good for Oklahoma State.
I'll take it over another level. It's a great resource for the kids on this program. I mean, you look at Sutton, Cooper, Henson, just those three, who are all head coaches for a long time on different schools. There's very few things that they have not seen in this business, and I've seen our kids, take advantage of their knowledge base. What am I doing? Maybe do this, maybe do that. So not only does Boynton have a resource base in his staff room, the kids have a resource base every day. And this can't do anything but help the overall effort. And I agree with you, if you're not secure, then you don't want to hire people who could, quote unquote, be a threat. But that doesn't seem to be the case since Boynton's hired 3 former head coaches.
If you have the talent at Oklahoma State, and again, talent gets determined by how you play on the floor. We
And how
see
you
that.
recruit.
But my point is, it's not because these guys don't have the resources and the guys to go to help develop their game. If they don't
Correct.
develop, it's maybe
kind of their fault, really.
coachability more than it is anything else. Final break. Come back. Wrap it up right after this.
Frontier Lanes is Stillwater's favorite family entertainment destination. Open 7 days a week, Ernie and the crew offer 16 lanes of bowling, but that's just where the fun begins. Knock down the pins to the sounds of your favorite tunes with our jukebox. The game room features pinball, pool, and exciting arcade games. And with a full snack bar, you can satisfy your thirst and get some of the best burgers and fries in town. Frontier Lanes near Airport Road at 3524 North Washington. Call 372-8584 and be sure to ask them about booking your child's next birthday party.
Charlie's Discount Drug, where we know our customers by name. Oh, yeah. Charlie's Discount Drug.
The McCafe is now featuring cold brew coffee and cold brew frappes. Face the day with a cold brew coffee from the McCafe with a rich cold brew coffee blended with ice for a creamy frozen drink that's colder than cold brew. Or refresh with a cold creamy frappe. We start with a cold brew coffee, blended ice, and topped with whipped cream and rich chocolate drizzle for a great anytime frozen treat. McDonald's in Stillwater, Perkins, Perry, and Cushing. I'm loving it.
If you haven't been to TS Fork at White Barn Estates lately, we have an exciting new concept to tell you about. It's called Thirsty Thursdays, and it includes 4 courses of the same high-quality food as our other nights, and some of the best mixed drinks you've ever had. Best of all, no reservations are required. And while you're there, relax with a drink on our covered patio and check out the gift shop with Made in Oklahoma products. Go to tsfork.com for more details and to check out our upcoming special menus.
It's back. Stillwater High School football returns to TV 31. Be sure to catch every home game as the Pioneers look to return to the championship game. Stillwater High School football is brought to you by our friends at Tiger Drug. Also by Freddie Paul's Steakhouse. By Bank First. Also by Formal Fantasy. The Houck Agency for all of your insurance and real estate needs. By McDonald's. By Martin, Jean, and Jackson. Also brought to you by Harrison Electric, Legacy Oil and Gas, by Wendell Stevens Shelter Insurance, by Gigabytes, and by Charlie's Discount Drug. Catch Stillwater High School football on TV 31 Fridays, also streaming on TV31.net. Replays convene Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Facebook as well. Catch it right here on TV 31.
Welcome back. Wrapping things up here on the show. Hey, we've got fall baseball still to come, right?
This next week, I believe, they go to Kansas City, finish it out against Vanderbilt, have a little scrimmage situation there. The scores are not, that's not what you're looking for, that 14-inning thing that went on. Yes, Oklahoma State won it over Arkansas, but what you're looking for is how some of these kids are going to compete, and Arkansas is looking for the same thing. So you get guys out there, you pitch, you got to throw pitchers out there, hitters, put them in different situations. But yes, it comes to an end here in the next week, I believe.
You know what I love about fall softball exhibition style is that people can actually report on it and attend. Unlike this closed scrimmages in basketball, which is the most idiotic thing in the world.
Cowboys,
now, some coaches may not want it.
Cowboys coming up this week. I mean, we can't say where it is.
The Cowgirls are taking on Wichita State. What are we doing? Why can't we not talk about it? NCAA just blows my mind.
Cowboys are going over to Tulsa this weekend.
Cowgirls, by the way, Sunday open up exhibition season with Emporia State.
A real one. I mean, you can actually talk about it.
I'll be calling the game. That's how real it is.
You have to whisper, though?
No, it's actually over the air, and it'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. So, hey, a lot of good stuff this week. I had a chance to talk to Coach Boynton. I got Coach Gerlich coming up, who's the head coach of UTA, but her daughter plays for Oklahoma State. We'll do that.
That'd be an interesting conversation.
It will be a fun. It's just so unique to have a Division I head coach whose kid plays for another program. And Anyway, it's going to be a fun conversation, but it's been a good week, been a couple of good weeks. So be sure to check out TV 31 at 1 to 3. Coming up on Sunday in the Jukebox.
Oh, my goodness.
Is it our time yet? Is it our time yet?
No.
I put in my request.
The staff songs come up the third week in November.
Third week? How much preparation do you need?
It's going to be a dynamic
That better be-
extravaganza.
Let me tell you, you've raised the bar. If that doesn't deliver, we're going to be looking for a change at the
But I'll be having a press conference shortly thereafter to tell you that the Stillwater Jukebox program is in good shape.
So what's this week?
This week, I don't know what this week is.
You don't even know.
Oh, no,
see?
this week is one hit. It's the one-hit wonder, just like you.
I love it.
You ought to listen twice because it's all about
I'm
you.
going to record it and play it back. Hey, we want to say thanks to Barry Henson for being here. We want to say thanks to you for tuning in. For Tommy D, I'm Casey Kendrick. You guys have a great week. See you next time right back here on Out of Bounds.